Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is day 2, part 7. Shoji X female listener. Enjoy. Shoji and your mum appeared to be using the same brain cell for the next week. Both of them were beyond determined to do their best thing by you, and it seemed like everything was working like clockwork for them. The principal had replied to your mum and had approved for you to take some time off, and pretty much the next day Shoji came home and told you that there was a mid-year intake happening in the next few days, so you quickly applied for that and got accepted with Shoji's personal recommendation, and then 3 days later you're at the gates of UA, next to Shoji, ready to head in and do your exam. You had gotten there a little earlier than expected, and were heading in with him over to the exam area when one of his classmates approached him, a hybrid morph-type person who had the head of a blackbird. You couldn't tell if it was a crow or raven, but it appeared to be one or the other. "Greetings." This hybrid classmate greeted Shoji. "Hi, Tokoyami," Shoji replied. "And your friend?" the classmate named Tokoyami asked, looking from Shoji to you. "Oh, yes, this is my friend, Yin. She's applying for a place in the hero course," Shoji said, and you looked at him and then at the bird-esque classmate. Still sounds super weird when he says hero. You thought, "Good luck to you, mortal," Tokoyami said, and it kind of took you aback, but you decided to run with it and so grinned and spoke in similar fashion. "Let the anarchy begin," you replied, and you swear you almost heard wedding bells in Tokoyami's mind. He just stared at you with awe. Just then the speakers in the open area crackled to life. "Would all participants of the entrance exam please make their way to the arena to start? We would like to commence in the next 10 minutes, the voice said, and you looked at it and then Shoji. "We should go," he said, nodding to Tokoyami, as did you, and then you and he both headed off with Tokoyami watching on, still with jaw pretty much on the floor. As you and Shoji approached the arena, you could see more and more people, and felt the tide of other bodies moving in the same direction as you both, sweeping you along with them until you were all inside a smaller room where there was a large screen overhead. "Hey, hey! This is where it all comes to life, listeners!" A sudden, loud, very extroverted voice called, and you looked around to locate the speaker, but suddenly a bright light was switched on and it illuminated a man standing on the stage at the front, his long blonde hair spiked upwards and his slim-fitting dark hero outfit making him a standout. "Oh, that's Hero Present Mike," one of the other students nearby said out loud, and you looked across at them and then looked back to the man called Present Mike on the stage. "He's my English teacher," Shoji commented, and you nodded in a bit of awe. "That's pretty cool you have a hero as a teacher," you said. "Pretty much all of our teachers are heroes," Shoji said. "It's UA after all." "Wow," you thought, as you shut up and let Present Mike continue. He talked through how the exam would work, and Shoji nodded as he remembered his own entrance exam. "It's the same as ours, fighting robots," he commented softly to you. "That sounds intense," you thought. The briefing finished, and then it was time to break into groups. You were in the first group to go through, and Shoji wished you luck one more time before you left his side and followed the others through the door that led to the arena beyond. "She'll be okay," Shoji thought with mild worry, as he turned and headed to the observation deck to join with others who were also standing in there waiting to see how their friends and family would do. The screens jumped to life once all the observers were in the room, and the lights in the building went dim so everyone could see the screen properly. Then the speakers switched on so that those observing could also hear what was happening on the field. Shoji's eyes scanned the crowd on screen for you, but there were so many people that he couldn't locate you. He hoped that as time went on he'd be able to spot you, and just hoped that it wasn't going to be a case of watching your downfall on the big screen. "She won't go down easy," he thought with determination. "She's tougher than that." The starting bell sounded and some of the crowd of examinees stepped forwards bravely, almost willing the robots to come and get them, while others stayed back and watched. Shoji still couldn't see you, so he assumed that you were in the group that was waiting to see what would happen, but suddenly one of the cameras cut to a lone figure running off from the group, and a rustle of whispers gathered and swirled through the onlookers. "What?" one guy asked. "Who is that? What are they doing?" The camera zoomed in on the person, and Shoji grinned under his mask. He recognized the figure running. "Who is that?" another person asked. "Are they crazy? They're out on their own. Where are they going?" "I don't know what her plan is, but I know her, and I know she's got it under control," Shoji said confidently out loud. The camera continued to follow you as you ran, looking here and there and occasionally touching the walls of the buildings in the arena, as well as looking up overhead at things. Back at the starting line, the robots had started to advance, and those in the foreground of the group had started to showcase their quirks, while others were either attacking from the back with long-range attacks or were cowering and waiting to see what would happen next. Would the front group be able to hold these robots off? Suddenly, from behind the robots, this one random girl shot out, whistling and making all kinds of noise to get the robots' attention. There she is, Shoji thought with excitement when he saw that it was you who had jumped out from behind the robots. Some of the more updated robots turned and started shooting at you, but you were just out of their range and their laser shots fell short of you. "Come this way, you lumps of metal!" you shouted at them, backing away and making 3 of them follow you. You turned and started to run, waiting nearby a light pole and pretending to hide behind it, which the robots could clearly see you, and then when they shot at the light pole, you started to push against it with all your might, the damaged side giving way and felling the pole directly onto one robot. "Yes!" you cheered, turning and running over to another light pole. "Oh, I see what she's doing," someone commented. "Very clever. But isn't she worried about getting hit?" Probably not, Shoji thought, when he caught the subtle but telltale sign of you quirking yourself. To others it just looked like you were stretching your fingers a little bit, but to Shoji that was a sign that you were quirking. He had watched you so closely over the years that he just knew it was a signal. After successfully dropping another pole on the second robot, you made your way towards a large building and stood with your back to the bricks, enticing the third robot to come closer. The 4-legged metal machine creaked and groaned its way in your direction, firing lasers at you, but you managed to dodge all of them. Not super concerned about getting out of the way, because if you got nicked by one you could just quirk it better. No pain? Easy, right? The robot came closer and closer, getting within strike range now and raising one metal leg to stomp on you, but you, at the last minute, jumped out of the way and rolled, and the robot slammed its foot into the building, getting its leg somewhat stuck in there. "Ha!" you yelled. "I think that might account for something. I don't really know how to finish this one off, but getting it stuck might give me half a point." Just then another examinee ran in and tried to take the robot down. This person seemed desperate, as you could hear them muttering, just one, as they ran up behind the robot. In their blinded state, wanting to finish off the robot, they didn't take into consideration that the robot might back up and be able to free itself from the building, and that's exactly what happened. The robot stumbled backwards just as this person got right behind it, and you screamed at them to look out as you ran forwards to get to them in time. "No!" you yelled, throwing yourself over them just before the robot toppled over and landed on you both, a sudden plume of dust and dirt shooting out from under the wreckage. A cliffhanger. Oh, sorry. I got a little bit of a cliffhanger. I mean, something up my nose. I'll see you next week for Chapter 8. See you then.